Hello, I'm Cyrille Imbert, executive producer on Streets of Rage 4.
Hi, I'm Ben Fiquet. I'm the audio actor on Street of Rage 4.
And you're listening to the Sega Lounge.
You're listening to Sega Lounge.
Welcome to the Sega Lounge, a podcast dedicated to our love for all things Sega, be it the games, the music, or the community. I'm KC. In each episode, I'll be talking to different guests and sharing their projects and their passion for Sega. Welcome one and all to a brand new episode of the Sega Lounge. How have you guys been? Hopefully safe and still mentally sane, or at least not more insane than before. We've got a longer interview for you this week, so I won't take long now. But let me just remind you that you can, and dare I say, should totally subscribe to the Sega Lounge podcast on your podcast app or service of choice. Go do it now. Yeah, I'll wait. Waiting. Still waiting. Done? No? Well, you suck. No, come back. I'm kidding. See? I'm good. Just as insane as before. Anyway, thankfully, to help us out with our quarantine and social distancing routines, Sega and friends have been very generous with 3 titles released this week alone. Sega Age's G-Lock Air Battle is out now on the Switch. Sakura Wars has your JRPG needs covered on the PS4, and, Streets of Rage 4. Everywhere. Streets of Rage 4, yes. It's out now. 26 years after the third game came out on the Mega Drive or Genesis, Dotemu, Lizardcube, and Guard Crush Games developed a great game and teamed up with an all-star crew of musicians which include Yuzo Koshiro and Motohiro Kawashima to create a soundtrack worthy of a true sequel to the original Streets of Rage trilogy. If you haven't yet, you can listen to my review of the game, which is available as a bonus episode of the Sega Lounge and features a few of the tracks in the game's soundtrack as background music. This week we're celebrating SOR 4 Day or Streets of Rage 4 Day in style with an interview with 2 members of the core team behind the game. Cyrille Imbert, CEO of Dotemu and executive producer and music supervisor of the game, and Ben Fiquet, co-founder of Lizardcube and art director as well as in charge of the story, cinematics, and much more in the game. They talk about the importance this IP has to them, how to balance doing a sequel to such an iconic trilogy with keeping things fresh and modern, and they also address the soundtrack. All of this and more, including a fun challenge, coming up next on the Sega Lounge. Hello, Ben and Cyrille. Welcome to the Sega Lounge.
Thank you.
How are you? Doing great?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Quarantined at home and trying to have a blast despite all the events.
Yeah.
I'm having a better time than Ben because I don't have children, but still.
Yeah. I'm trying not to hear their scream at the moment.
I get you. Yeah, I'm just like Cyrille. Yeah, I don't have those problems. I have other problems, but not that one. Okay, so thank you so much for coming on the Sega Lounge, especially since I know you're probably crazy busy right now with final details, final things to do before launch on Streets of Rage 4. Let's start by giving our listeners a little introduction. So Ben is not this is not the first time that you've been on the show, but would you like to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, how you got into gaming, how you got into the video game industry, for example?
Yeah, sure. I was raised with fine art. I'm an artist and I draw stuff. I did a few schools in France, and just after finishing, I started working on a little game on Nintendo DS called Star Bubbles, which was a very fun game. And this is where I met my associate and co-founder of Lizardcube, Omar Cornu. We worked on that game in like 2006 or something, and after that we split our separate ways, and I went to work as a freelance in different stuff like animation in London, animation in France. I did my own comic books. I worked a bit on video games for big companies as well, like DreamWorks or something. And after, like in 2014, we reconnected with Omar, and he wanted to make a remake of a game called Wonder Boy 3: The Dragon's Trap. And I started to say, yeah, that sounds amazing. Let me try to draw some stuff for you. And from there, we started to have a prototype, and we started to have something that was very cool to see and to play with. That's where we met Dotemu, and everything like kind of snowballed from here. We had a publisher. Dotemu went to Sega. We had the rights, and Wonder Boy was the first game of Lizardcube in 2017, which was quite a success, which is always good. And with that, we carry on to Streets of Rage 4 with Dotemu, and maybe.
And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Like everything, like has been kind of straightforward, but we are very lucky to have been in contact with Sega, to have been meeting with Dotemu at the right time, the right moment, and now we are still partnering for Street of Rage 4, which is a very anticipated game, which is very cool because the game is about to release, and we couldn't be happier with the game, and we can't wait to have the players play it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. What about you, Cyrille? Would you like to tell us a little bit about your history with gaming? How it all started?
So I've always been playing video games as far as I can recall. That has always been a passion for me. That even had an influence on my school, like a bad influence, I would say, at the beginning. But yeah, that's always been something very special for me. And I studied business mainly, and after that, I didn't really know what to do. And basically, my mother found out that there was some training to be video game producer available, and I was like, what, really? I can do that? Like, me, I'm not, I don't know how to draw anything. I don't know how to, like program anything.
Is
I
that
can't
a
work
job?
in video games. Yeah, exactly. And then I checked it out, and it was a real thing. So I applied, and I got accepted. So for a year, I studied video game production, and worked at Ubisoft as an intern on Assassin's Creed, mainly, but also on lots of other IPs, like the Smurfs, for example, which was a really passion project. the Smurf Dance Party, to be exactly precise.
Okay.
I was working at marketing at Ubisoft, but it was a very cool experience meeting with people at Ubisoft, and working on such great games as Assassin's Creed was truly like mind-blowing for me, and really taught me how to handle big names and how to handle huge marketing campaigns worldwide. So it was a very nice experience. But after that, I always wanted to create my own company. So I created a company called Chouquet Games, and we started to do mobile games with a friend from school. Didn't work out well. We never encountered any success. But we gathered a lot of experience and actually started to work and worked on different games for companies or for ourselves, and mostly on mobile, but still it was a super great experience. But then, so as it was not a success, I was looking for a job as a producer mainly, but marketing as well, but more producer side. And my father, who is an entrepreneur as well, just had sold his company, and he told me that he wanted to invest somewhere where I was involved. And I said, well, yeah, I'm doing video games, so that's going to be hard, right? And he said, yeah, I don't know, like look around and check if there's something you can do, and I got, because of my previous experience, I got to meet with the founders of Dotemu, Xavier and Roman. And they were looking for an investor and actually someone to acquire their company. They wanted to move on and do something else. The company was doing really good, and it was an awesome company. But mainly it was doing games on mobile back in the days, bringing games from the arcade machines back to mobile, like Metal Slug, Double Dragon, that kind of stuff. And I thought it was great business model, great way of working on awesome games that I really loved back in my childhood. And so, basically we built the company with my father 5 years ago now, almost 6 years ago. And it's been great since then. Many different amazing experience on amazing license like Final Fantasy, Heroes of Might and Magic, Another World, and of course more recently Windjammers, Ys Origins, Streets of Rage, Castlevania Symphony of the Night that Konami launched recently. We did the mobile version, and I can say that's the best version of Symphony of the Night ever made. I don't know if you had the occasion to try it out, but we're really proud of this work. That's how we came here today, I guess.
Awesome. Just a side note. So the first title you launched with Chouquet Games.
Yeah.
I did a little research, and it was called Become a Pickup Artist.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. well, yeah.
Is it still available?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay.
We haven't been maintaining this for a long time, but yeah, I mean, back in the day, me and my partner were single, and we were like looking out to see like how the attraction mechanism were working, and found out that it was really close to a game with rules. So we thought it was interesting. And we thought, why not translate those rules into an actual game and make a dating sim with it? And that's what we did. But then we later saw that there was a community behind the pickup artist thing, which was pretty toxic. And so we said, okay, damn it. And yeah, but really the way we started it was to kind of make a game where you could actually learn something about it, improve your social skills. I think we did a pretty great job. It was really interesting to play, but it never got the attention and the success it actually deserved. But it brought us lots of experience, lots of good times.
Yeah.
It was the first game. It was
just a quick side note, but that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Okay, so Cyrille, we already talked to Ben, so we'll just ask you this time. Which would you say is your favorite video game of all time? And if that's too hard, you can say like a top 3 or something.
I would not say my favorite, but I would say more the one that really kind of that I think about all the time, and where I have the most vivid memories and kind of life, if it was in real life, almost in real life memories. It's my first MMORPG. It was called Dark Age of Camelot, and it was it was really the beginning of like online gaming, right? But this was so huge and crazy. Like, it was an actual world. Like, the previous MMORPGs were way smaller or 2D, but this one was absolutely amazing. And I don't know, like, I had a guild, and it went for years. I played with people that I met in real life that I've never met in real life. Awesome people from every age, every social background. And gaming memories, like, the game was hard as hell. You could lose hours of gameplay just by dying, like, and you have no map. Like, you had to ask people like where to go, like in real life, basically.
Like in real life, yeah.
Yeah, and there was lots of solidarity between players, and the system that there was 3 different kingdoms was really cool as well, because then it was not like just 2 parties like fighting each other. It was more complex, more political, more strategic when it was coming to big battles, because you could do like huge battles, like 100 versus 100 versus 100 in a heroic fantasy world. It was amazing. And so, yeah, that I would say maybe that's not my favorite game, because it's so hard to find a favorite game, but that's really a game that kind of made me realize the potential of video games in general, in terms of emotion, in terms of immersion, immersive experience. That was really the word for that game. And every time I talk about it with my friends that I used to play with on that game before, we all have memories, like if we lived in a different world for years.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks for sharing. Okay.
Sure.
So let's get on with the Streets of Rage talk, right? So that's what we're here to talk about. Although we could sit here and talk about other video games for a long time, I'm sure.
Of course.
So a question for both of you, since you guys are working on a new Streets of Rage, how important was the Streets of Rage series for you individually, specifically?
Well, I mean, for everyone that has been growing with Sega titles, and myself included, I was a teenager with a Mega Drive at home when Streets of Rage 2 came out, and I grabbed it, didn't really know what it was, and I spent countless hours on it, and this was one of the best games the machine could provide, and it's just everything that is connected to your childhood memories and teenager memories are very vivid even as an adult. And Streets of Rage and many Sega games, because I was a Sega kid, was it was amazing. And at some point when we had the idea to try to convince Sega to make another game, it was just a dream that we were chasing, because you were thinking about yourself as a teen and thinking, oh yeah, I could do that. Let me play with it, Sega. And after a few years of development, now we are, and it just feels just like a dream, and the games are very important, but not only to me and to us. I think for a lot of people, because the games didn't see a new game for 26 years, and it's very vital that we don't fuck this up.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Cyrille? Was Streets of Rage important to you? I'm sure.
Yep, it definitely was. Like Ben, I was more a Sega kid growing up. My first console was a Master System 2. And my first handheld console was a Game Gear. Before I had a Game Boy, actually. And my first game on the Game Gear was Streets of Rage. And I remember really well playing that game at the backseat of my parents' car during long trips in the south of France, and really being crazy about this game that was so badass. You could fight, and it was more like of an adult video game. It was a bit violent. It was super cool. You could choose different characters. The music was awesome. It really felt something special as a special game for me back in the days. And then when I had a Mega Drive, I had it as well there. But yeah, it's a game that I remember really well, contrary to other games that I remember that I had, but I don't remember really well playing them. But Streets of Rage, maybe because it was on the Game Gear and it was a very cool device for me as well back in the days. I remember it really well, and I really loved it.
Awesome. You just had to spend a fortune on batteries. That's the only problem.
Exactly. Especially when you're in a car, like when we were stopping on the highway, I was asking to my parents every time to buy some batteries, and they were going crazy with that. But yeah.
Awesome. So if you had to choose between the 3 original games, and in your case, Cyrille, the Game Gear games as well, which one would you say is your favorite?
I would say the number 2 would be my favorite, because the music is absolutely amazing. And on other aspects as well, it's way more. It's like the ultimate evolution, of the genre. The third one is there's not like huge gap between the first and the second one. All the musics are so iconic. All the characters are iconic. For me, it's the best one. They're all good, but the second one is the most iconic, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so too. Because the second one is more coherent, if I might say. You can everything makes sense. The first one is a bit stiff in a way. The second one, they went crazy, and they did amazing sprites and music and gameplay. And the third one, I think they try a bit too much. And even if that's a good game, it might have been too much at some point. So yeah, the second one is considered for many people, not just myself or Cyrille.
Yeah.
I think. Second one is considered the best game of the series, really.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say is your favorite character, Ben, to play as?
To play, well, now in Street of Rage 4 or in the original games?
Well, the originals.
Yeah, in the originals, I always played Axel because I don't know, I like to play the standard guy, not the heavy type or not the quick one. So I want to have a very smooth experience, and Axel was perfect for that.
Okay. What about you, Cyrille?
For me, on the first one, it would be Blaze.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because maybe I love the color, black and red, and like her posture as well. I think I really liked it. On the second one would be Max, because he's very powerful, and I guess because it was easier to play with him. So I was less impatient with the game. And I didn't play a lot of the third one, so I couldn't be until recently, but I couldn't tell you exactly which one I would prefer on the third one.
Okay.
But yeah, Blaze and Max would be my favorite ones.
Awesome. Great picks there. Awesome. So let's keep going. Let's talk about the origin of this project. So how did you guys got into Streets of Rage 4? How did this come to be? How did you approach Sega? Who had the idea? How did it happen?
Well, as I mentioned, we finished Wonder Boy in 2017, and I started thinking about a new project we could do at Lizardcube, and I started drawing just for me and not really sharing it. And at some point, I think that was at the launch of Wonder Boy 3.
Yeah, launch party.
Yeah, the launch party. We discussed over beer with Cyrille of what could be next, and we realized we had the same idea, which was Switch of Rage 4, and we were like, yeah, that would be amazing, and so I showed him my drawings, and from there we made a fully proper pitch, yes, fully fledged pitch that Cyrille went to Sega with, and after that we had to wait for their approval, which ultimately came, and yeah, that's it basically.
Yeah, that's it. That's the story basically. It was really like something we both wanted to do for a long time, but for me it was a really long shot because, contrary to Wonder Boy, it's a very big license. Even if we were specialized in bringing back license at Dotemu, it was not an easy, target. But when Ben showed me his drawings, I was like, we need to try this, it must be, tried at some point. So yeah, and when I went to Tokyo and showed the pitch to Sega, surprisingly, they were very welcoming and very interested in the project. And from that moment, I knew that there was a possibility. And from then, we did everything we could to make it happen. And a couple of months later, it was a thing.
I think the experience of Wonder Boy proved to Sega that we were not messing around with the license.
Mhm.
And they were very happy with the result of Wonder Boy, and this is like a very huge step for Japanese businessmen. They need to trust you. So basically, Wonder Boy was the first step in the process of having Streets of Rage 4 becoming a reality, really.
Yeah, especially considering that there had been other pitches in the past that Sega did not approve. So, it's really important to trust a developer.
It came at different times of Sega, and it might change. I think we had for Street of Rage 4 we had a very good window of opportunity.
Yes.
But if we pitch it few years back or in a few years, maybe the situation would have been different at Sega. They would have said no, and this is quite. We've been quite lucky to.
I think the fact that Sonic Mania did so well really helped as well.
Yeah.
Because it was not done by Sega internally. It was not done by a very famous studio, or it was done by just a fan, fans basically. And so I think that it opened some doors thanks to Sonic Mania as well. And of course, Wonder Boy, as Ben said, really contributed to that as well.
Yeah. That's why we're seeing Sega being so open to other companies or other studios working on their IPs, right? As long as they trust them, they are open to it now, which is great because we haven't seen a new game in the Streets of Rage series since 1994, right? So it's been 16 years. It's too long.
26
years. Yes. I try to forget that I'm older than I really am.
Yes.
And now I'm sad. Okay. So on that very positive note, since the last game was released in 1994, 26 years, this was no small task, right? take on. You had to bring back a beloved series, a beloved franchise that people haven't seen a new game in for a long while. What challenges did you guys face when trying to bring back Streets of Rage? And obviously not just bringing back a new game like it's like copy paste of Streets of Rage 3, for example, but updating it to modern standards.
Well, there's like different challenges. You have the gameplay that you need to have a proper gameplay for 2020's players. You also have the art, which is quite a leap from 1994. This is, I think, a lot of things with that has been convincing a lot of fans that the game was a true successor of the franchise. And this is like every game development is difficult, but on top of that, you had also the expectation, the legitimate expectation of the fans, and I mean, trying to come up with new ideas that has to fit in a pre-existing universe and pre-existing license and gameplay style is pretty hard when you have like the pressure. So yeah, updating everything, but while in the same time respecting the license and the fans in general.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a big challenge, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's something that we used to do at Dotemu, because that's basically our DNA. And that's what we've been doing for more than 10 years. But for Streets of Rage, it was special because the community and expectations were way bigger than usual. So, I mean, like, we knew we had to show people what we were capable of all together, and that we were true fans. So the challenges were in every aspect. We couldn't make a single mistake, but at the same time, as you said, it's not a copy-paste. So the goal is not to only please the fans, but also to kind of acquire new fans, like that are maybe younger, that didn't know the games from before, that never played them, never heard of them. So yeah, I mean, like, that challenge was to kind of do what we wanted to do as fans. Like, simply, like, it's pretty straightforward. When you, for example, I'm a Star Wars fan. When I talk to another true Star Wars fan, basically, like, we have the same opinions on the last movies or on different aspects of the universe and stuff like that. And we share those, so when you're a true fan, usually you find the same ideas and there's a common ground, like there are some sub like things that change from a fan to the other, but basically we think the same way. And that was the case with the whole team. So we didn't have to ask ourselves many questions. We knew what we had to do, but we also had our own convictions in a way that we're like, okay, it's going to be a Streets of Rage, but it's going to be a new one. So we need to bring something new. And what would be the new things that we would bring? And in many different aspects, gameplay, visuals, music, we brought those new things. But as fans, like, without looking away from the original games, but just like keeping them in the back of our mind while trying to create something new.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's a great answer. Good. So, by the way, when it comes to the design, to the art, awesome work. So Ben is a great artist. So I think
yes.
I don't think I've seen anyone complain about the art since the very beginning.
Oh, there have been.
Sure.
I know people complain, but I haven't seen them.
No. But I mean that's all right. A lot of people are entitled to their opinions on the art because this is not what they're used to.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, some people are disappointed because they wanted what they think they like, and a lot of people are very pleased with the new art. But at the same time, I know that I can't please everyone, and I hope I did the best job I could, but I can't. I didn't want to do pixel art, and I didn't want to do 3D because that was too much of a hassle, and uh, I mean, I think people ultimately will enjoy it because it's still well animated, and even if they don't like the designs or the colors and everything, I think the gameplay is tight enough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, when you have the occasion to work with someone like Ben who really masters the traditional animation and like has really a specific touch in character design, in colors, in lights, the way everything is handled, like, you need to do it, like, you don't see games with that visual quality often, like, especially with traditional animation.
Yeah.
That's not something you see often, right? And that's so beautiful.
Mhm.
Like, from my personal taste, I think that's amazing. And playing with a game that looks like a cartoon, like an anime, it's so awesome. It looks beautiful. It's you never get tired of looking at it. You always discover new details, either in the animation or in the background. It's a real pleasure to look at it, to contemplate it. And when you play it and it's super intense, it's awesome. So I understand why some people are a bit reluctant of this art, because they wanted to have pixel art because it was full. They wanted a full nostalgia trip. But we're in 2020, and now we have the technical means to do something as beautiful and to put what Ben is capable of doing into a video game and make it live, like alive, and you can play those characters. It needs to be done, so there's no question. And once you actually have it in your hand, even if you were looking for something with pixel art, but once you have Streets of Rage 4 in your hand and you look at the screen, it's such a visual pleasure that I think everybody will like it in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you still have the opportunity to play with the retro characters.
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. Yeah, so there's retro mode. Yeah, I advise everyone to go over to the PlayStation blog. That actually, as we're recording, I just got a notification that there's a new blog post on the PlayStation blog by you, Ben, talking about how you redesigned Blaze and Adam, and that's pretty awesome stuff. So very interesting to learn more. Okay, very good answers. So talking about the gameplay now, so obviously Streets of Rage was always about the 2D brawling. So was there anything that you wanted to preserve, or what were the parts of that gameplay, that classic gameplay style that you wanted to preserve, and what parts did you want to change? Did you think were not as up to date as they could be for modern standards?
Mm-hmm. So I'd say, like, the in terms of gameplay, pure gameplay, the things that we really wanted to nail down was the game feel of the original ones, because it was really good in a terms that you can really feel the fist like hitting, like the enemies. And it's because the game beat them up games are usually very intense game. It's important because at some point it will be repetitive, and if it's not good every time, then it's it's a bit annoying at some point. So it needs to really feel good when you use your fists, when you kick, when you jump. Everything needs to be super tight, super reactive, and very satisfactory. So that was one of the things that we really tried to keep from the original titles. And the game designer of Streets of Rage 4, Jordi, actually played with the original games. At the same time, he was designing the move sets and the moves and like fine-tuning the hitbox and everything of Streets of Rage 4 to really compare and get that same feeling, get that same game feel of the right hit at the right time, the right combo, the right punch. That was something super important to keep. What was not, and I mean, like, it's not that we didn't keep things. We tried to keep as much as possible from the original because they were pretty good games. What we did is we added stuff that was not possible to add back in the days because of technical means and because the video game industry was completely different. There was not so many games that had been out in 26 years. Can you imagine how many games have been out and how many games we could get inspiration from? So it was more adding stuff, like adding moves, making the combos more complex, more rich, adding characters, adding features, adding the fact, for example, that now like using special doesn't burn your health, consume your health.
Okay.
It does, but then you can regain it back if you manage to do combos without getting hit, for example. So it's like a risk-reward mechanism that you can find in Bloodhorn, for example. So like this is an example of a new mechanic. There's also like the super, like the super customs where like you throw huge moves and like you hit multiple enemies at the same time. The fact that we could really also differentiate different enemies, different characters, and different enemies as well. And one of the example of the things that we really changed as well is like one thing that was a bit annoying in the previous episodes is that enemies could go out of the screen when you like throw them on the borders of the screens. And then you were like, okay, where are they? And then they would jump from the screen and hit you. We really try to take that out as much as possible in Streets of Rage 4, and even to play with that in a sense that now the enemies, even if there is no wall in the game, the enemies will bounce against the side of the screen, and bounce back to you, and then you can change and juggle with them, which is super satisfactory as well. So those are kind of the things, like to nail the game feel, to nail the original spirit of the series with very nice music, with a very cool universe and characters, but at the same time adding more layers of features, of like techniques, modern techniques to that, to make it something very modern, but that feels like a good beat 'em up and pure beat 'em up game.
Okay, very good. How involved were Sega in the development process? Did you have to regularly consult with them, show them the progress?
Well, no, they were very hands-off, but we showed them the progress of the game every step of the way. And from the beginning, they've been very supportive, and they really like what we were doing. And honestly, I think they made a few comments that sometimes we strayed in a little bit of direction that they didn't want, but like this is very little compared to the size of the production. And no, they've been very, very hands-off the project really.
And yeah, we were so in this process of having them approve everything in the game, which is completely normal thing to do, and the process was going very smoothly. But not only they were not like trying to make us change things that we didn't want to, or that was completely different from the direction that we wanted to set, but also they gave us interesting feedback, like that made sense. And very constructive feedback actually, and you could see that the people that were giving feedback on Streets of Rage 4 were people that really knew the original games and knew like what made them cool and everything. So all in all, it was very nice advices, and the process went really smooth, so it was very good collaboration.
Awesome. Are you aware of people from the original teams of the original games looking at your work in Streets of Rage 4?
Yeah, of course.
We work with Yuzo Koshiro. That's one thing.
Okay.
He works with us in Streets of Rage 4 on some tracks of the game, and also he saw the game, gave us some feedback as well. His sister as well saw the game, and it was a very light feedback, but we heard that she really liked it. But yeah, that's it from the original team, the people that we met from the original, but that's already something, right?
Yeah. That's a really big part of the process.
Yes,
we'll get into that in a bit. Okay, so one last question. How important was it to have a diverse roster of playable characters? We have a lot of characters to choose from. a lot of the old ones, everyone is back, right? New ones. How important was it for you to have a lot of playable characters this time?
Well, I think it was important to have at least the same number of characters as the original games. I mean, just the HD characters. But on top of that, with the technology that we have, we could implement the retro characters as well. So ultimately, we have a total of 17 characters you can choose from. But if you're just speaking about the new characters and the HD characters, it was I think it was important to have something new, because this is not just a remake of the old titles. It was important to have new stuff and recognizable characters. Like Adam was meant to be returning because he's been such a great character,
Iconic, right?
Yes, it's so iconic, and he needed to be back. And Axel and Blaze, obviously, since they're here from the beginning, they needed to be here. But we wanted to add something new with Floyd and Cherry, because we wanted, like for Floyd, we wanted the gameplay to have a brawler that can grapple his enemies from afar, and he could move with two enemies in his hands. This is something new. This is something, when you make a new game, you have to implement new stuff, because ultimately that's what brings the license forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, where is Roo the kangaroo?
Yeah, he's here. You have to play the game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Great news.
But I mean, I'm not spoiling anything. But it's not playable.
Okay.
But you will see it in the game.
Okay. So obviously we're recording this 1 week before the game releases. It'll air on the day of release. But so if you're listening to this right now, go find Roo the kangaroo. Go find him.
Exactly.
Okay. So Cyrille and Ben, I usually do something with my guests called quick shots. Quick shots, not alcohol. Don't ask. No, it's just a little game I like to play, and I will give you some words or some expressions, and what I want you to do is to tell me the first thing that pops into your head. Okay. Want to try it? Okay. So
each one of us.
Yeah, we could do each one of you. So let's start with Ben. So Ben.
Okay.
Video games.
Aladdin, Mega Drive.
Good pick. Okay. Cyrille, video games.
What pops into, I don't know, like pleasure.
Good. That's a great one. Okay, let's switch it back to Cyrille. Streets of Rage.
Music.
Mm-hmm. Ben.
Neon lights.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. Okay, Ben. Chicken.
Else.
Okay. Yeah. Cyrille.
Yeah, same thing here. It must be that.
Health. It has to be health. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, one last one for each of you. So for Cyrille, your last one is Dotemu.
Second family.
Great. And for Ben, Lizardcube.
Kind of a hard one. Future.
Okay, great one. Very good. Good answers, guys. That was quick shots with Cyrille and Ben. Thank you. Okay, great.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a quick break. Okay. And when we come back, I have one more surprise for you guys. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Running an evil organization can be a pain, especially when heroes keep defeating your employees. good help is so hard to find these days. Thankfully, you don't have to resort to tracking down disgruntled unemployed people anymore. Introducing the Thug Cloning Device by the Syndicate. Our years of running an organization that is just plain evil, combined with the obscene amounts of money we paid top scientists, resulted in a machine that suits all of your city or world domination plans. Just grab a few street thugs at random and throw them in our Thug Cloning Device for instant replication. The device even comes with customization options, so you can change the color of each thug's clothes or even their names so that they feel unique. Thug Cloning Device by the Syndicate. Forget recruiting and start replicating today. Warning: clone thugs require food and minimum wage to keep working for you. Creating an army of clone thugs without tending to their needs may result in riots.
Welcome back. Hello, Cyrille. Hello, Ben. Hey, we're here with Cyrille and Ben from Streets of Rage 4. And Ben, you probably don't remember, but and that's for the better, because we have a surprise for all our guests on the Sega Lounge called the Sega Lounge Challenge. That's a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember now. You're gonna ask question, and for Wonderboy you ask question about the Master System.
That was the last time.
I remember now.
Yes.
Yeah, and we replied like straight away with Omar, like 100% correct.
That's true. That's true. So
I remember you now.
He was like, oh, I forgot. I meant not to ever come back to the Sega Lounge. Now I remember. This was a mistake.
I remember we mastered your
That
game.
was true. And that is why
Omar is a cheater. He knows everything.
He's like a walking encyclopedia of Master System.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that was a big disappointment for me. So this time we have a different Sega Launch Challenge.
Now that you know our guests, it's time to put them to the test. It's the moment we've waited for, and the moment they dread.
Welcome to your doom.
I mean, welcome to the Sega Lounge Challenge.
The Sega Launch Challenge can be anything we want. And this week we'll have something I like to call the roulette of music of rage. Not the best name, but what I'm gonna do is I have 10 clips, 10 short clips, 10-second long each, clips of music from different Streets of Rage games.
Wow.
Past Streets of Rage games. What I want you to do is to randomly pick a number, and what I want you to try and tell me is which of the games is that clip from. You don't have to tell me the level or the track title, just the game.
Yeah. I was afraid you were going to ask about the exact name of the track.
No need. But bonus points and respect if you can do that.
Of course.
So from 1 to 10, would you guys like to try? First one?
Sure.
Yeah.
So which one?
I choose 9.
9. Okay, this is a good one. This is an easy one, I think. So let's see if everything is working. Let's see if you can hear it correctly. So let's give it a listen to number 9.
First one.
Yeah.
First one, definitely.
Yeah? First one? Is that it?
First one,
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because that was very quick. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, final answer?
So, did I mean? Yeah.
That is correct. This was Violent Breathing from Streets of Rage 1 on the Mega Drive. Okay, good start. Next one. So 1 to 10, we already had 9.
Oh.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay. Let's take a listen.
Number 2 as well.
Number one.
Number 1. Number. I would say number 2.
Number 1.
So which one will it be? 2 or 1?
Number 1 for me and number 2 for Cyrille.
Yeah.
Oh, we're playing against each other. Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I like
we're
that.
playing against each other now.
I like that. I like that. I like the competition. So Cyrille says number 2, is it?
Yeah.
And Ben says number 1.
Yeah.
One of you is right. The correct answer is Streets of Rage 2. Cyrille is correct.
Oh, no! Oh, fans are gonna strangle
You're
me.
fired.
Yeah. No! Sorry!
1 chance out of 3.
Yeah, it's okay. We have a lot of
But I
Good
have no idea which level it was, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure at least.
yeah, this was wave 131. Okay, 9 and 7 are done. Which one is
Okay.
the next one?
Number 1.
Number 1. Okay. Oh, the very easy one. Very easy one. Let's take a listen.
Yeah. So afraid. I'm afraid to say something.
No, I think it's.
Think about it carefully.
It's not that easy. I think
It's
it
not
would
that
be
easy.
the second one again. I would say.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm. So, Streets of Rage 2, is that your final answer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
The correct answer is Streets of Rage. And that's it. Streets of Rage. It was the first one. Okay. Okay. Let's keep it going. 971. What's next?
4.
4. Okay. This one has a twist. Let's take a listen.
Oh. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Number 1.
Yep.
On the Mega Drive?
Game Gear.
Get Gear or Master System.
Yeah. So
This is not the chip from.
the 8-bit version of Streets of Rage 1, is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Wait.
The correct answer is Streets of Rage 2 on the Game Gear or 8-bit. Yeah, this is
Oh, the Game
This
Gear.
is
Oh, that's
your
right.
favorite
Okay.
game.
this was Dreamer.
Okay, okay.
But the song, the original, is from Streets of Rage 2 as well. It's Dreamer. It's a very good one. So
All right.
no luck. So 9714. 9714. What's next? Let's go with 2. Yeah, 2. Let's go with 2. Let's take
All
a
right.
listen.
Streets of Rage 3.
Yeah, that's the third one.
Yeah.
So you say Streets of Rage? What?
3.
3?
3.
Are you sure?
The third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No questions? No.
It's a bit weird, like, but is it a remix or something? Or...
No remixes. Only original songs here.
Okay. So yeah, third, I would say.
And you're correct. It is Streets of Rage 3. It's a bit different, right, from the other two, so
Yeah.
it shows.
So that's why it's not too hard.
Yeah. Okay, so we already had 9, 7, 1, 4, 2. Which one next?
Number 6.
Number 6. Okay, let's take a listen as well.
The third one. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the third one. This is
Maybe the second one, but second or third. But yeah, third. I don't really recognize it, so I would say third as well.
So
maybe at the oh yeah, well, the third one.
he's like, oh yeah, okay, third
don't
one.
know.
I don't know. So the correct answer is Streets of Rage 3. Yes.
Yeah.
That is correct. Well done. Well done. Okay. So only 4 left. So we have, for example, 3.
Yep.
Can we go with
Yeah,
3?
3.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Second one. Definitely. I think that's on the beach.
So
Yeah, it's second one. Is it the beach?
No, that's not the beach. It's just before the. I don't remember. I'm rubbish.
So
Don't mind me.
you're really
Second one for sure,
You're certain is number 2, right? No doubts
Yeah,
about it.
I'm very.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very certain about it.
And you're correct. That is obviously
course.
correct. Streets of Rage 2. Okay, so 9714263. That means we have 5 and 8 and 10.
8, yeah. All right.
So which one?
Let's go for 10 first.
10 first. Okay, that's a good one. Okay.
First one.
First one?
Yeah.
First one.
Yeah, I think it's the first one.
Mega Drive?
I don't think so. This does look like a Master System. Yeah, so
Well, I don't know, but the first one, I'm like 90% sure.
90%.
Potentially Game Gear, but that sounded pretty cool, pretty good. So I'd say Mega Drive.
Mm-hmm. So definitely first one, right?
Yeah.
It is the first one on the Game Gear or Master System, so
Yeah.
8-bit version. Yes. I
All
will
right.
give you that. Okay.
It sounds
really
right?
good. Yes,
For-
it does.
So it's amazing. Like, I mean, the Game Gear was a really, really cool console.
They were able to surpass the limitations of the system and do amazing
Yeah,
stuff.
especially for Streets of Rage, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 8 or 5?
Ben?
5.
5. Okay, let's take a listen.
Yeah, second one.
Yeah.
Or maybe.
This is so good.
Maybe first.
Maybe so. Not so.
Not for sure. I would say second one.
Yeah.
Ben.
Nah, maybe not. Not first one.
First one.
Vamos.
Okay.
So, final answer, guys.
Okay.
First one for me.
First one. Here we go.
The lesson here, always go with your gut. The correct answer is Streets of Rage 2.
Damn it.
Fucking hell.
Okay.
We're gonna have a riot in front of the office.
Last one. This is your last chance to save face, to tell everyone that you're amazing at this. And it's, I don't know if this is an easy one, so let's take a listen to number 8. Okay, maybe the hardest one. I don't know.
Oh no, it's easy. It's the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, second one.
Oh, wait. Can you continue a bit? Is that the intro of the,
I don't.
of the
I
track?
only have these 10 seconds.
Okay.
I actually do have. Okay. Exceptionally, just for you, just because I love you guys,
Just a bit more.
I will play the whole thing. So,
Okay.
or a little bit more.
That's the Game Gear version.
Yeah, but that might be a Master System. Second one, Master System.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was never before seen or heard on the Sega Launch Challenge. I have never done this. So with this very special help, what's your final answer?
I would say Streets of Rage 2 Game Gear.
Streets of Rage 2 Master System.
Okay. So basically the same thing. Your answer is, I'm afraid, correct, actually. Yes, well done. Very good. Looking at your answers, 4, 5, 6, and Cyrille, you had one more, so you had 7 out of 10. Ben, 6 out of 10. Not bad at all, especially with just 10-second long clips.
Well,
That's rubbish.
Which means you get the official.
I'm gonna get drunk now.
But you still get the official Sega Launch seal of approval. I will send it to you by email.
Great,
Okay,
great.
and it's an actual
Thank you.
an actual seal.
Okay.
Okay.
Then I can brag about
Yes.
it. People challenge me. I'm like, man, I have the seal of approval
Exactly.
for Sega Lounge,
Exactly. It's worth a lot. Okay. Thank you very much for being such good sports and taking part.
So. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So, just a few questions to wrap this up before we go. So let's talk about the music. You already mentioned this briefly. You've revealed that. Of course, Yuzo Koshiro is part of the project. His work is, for many, synonymous with Streets of Rage. Most people, perhaps, when they think of Streets of Rage, they think about his work on the soundtrack. But you've also included other people. And he is not the main composer, right, for the soundtrack. Why?
No.
Why did you go in that direction? Why did you choose to have other people working on this project as well?
Mm-hmm. So basically, we all knew it was going to be a very, very important part of the project. Because it has always been an important part of the Streets of Rage games. So we don't want to do something special with it, because, it was the occasion to do something unique that people would not be necessarily expecting. And that would definitely be modern while keeping the original spirit. So we made the choice of having one main composer, I would not say, main composer, that would kind of bring harmony and coherence to the whole original soundtrack, so that it's harmonious, it makes sense, and also who would be way closer to the game design and the level design and the programming team. So that would be really that would make kind of the perfect fusion of gameplay and music. Mm-hmm. Because we wanted to Streets of Rage 4 to be a musical experience as well, not only a gaming experience, but also an audio experience. So that was necessary to have someone that would understand the importance of the link between gameplay and music in a beat 'em up and in a Streets of Rage game. And it turns out that Olivier de Rivière, who's a very, very talented French composer who worked on Assassin's Creed, A Plague Tale: Innocence, is working on various very cool games. Yeah. He's a fan of the Streets of Rage series. Number two, he loves electronic music, even if he's done lots of classical music compositions. He also loves, if you look at his work on different games, you can really feel the electronic influence in his work. And finally, he's someone that is not only a composer, he also really understands how games are designed and why music should be so close to the gameplay. And that was just a perfect match for Streets of Rage. But beyond that, of course, we wanted to have the original spirits of the series. So it was very important for us that Yuzo Koshiro and Motohiro Kawashima were to be involved in the project. Mm-hmm. So very early in the process, we contacted them. We tried to have them in Streets of Rage 4. And of course, it was not an easy task because, Streets of Rage is very special for them. And they wanted to have kind of guarantees that the game would be handled well by our teams and that the game would make sense and that people would like the game. But once we met them in Paris after a concert they did, They really liked to see the game and to play around with it and our idea and our vision behind the music, that they agreed to work with us. And from there, we had an idea of like, okay, so that we have a main composer that will be working very closely with us on the game music and with the game designer. But we're gonna have some guests, including Yuzo Koshiro and Motohiro Kawashima, and we want them, to select them according to their music style, their personality, and to put them on different elements of the game, like bosses, special parts of the game, cinematics, special levels, special parts of the menu, like for example the character select is super important. All these kind of things, like, okay, the legacy artists, Yuzo Koshiro, Motohiro Kawashima, we need to have them making very strong tracks, the main theme, the first level, the final boss. They have to handle those tracks because they are super important and they're going to be iconic in the game, and we want these iconic tracks to be the modern version of Kawashima, of Motohiro Kawashima and Yuzo Koshiro, music.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, we also said, okay, but there were so many great artists back in the day that also kind of are part of the spirit of Streets of Rage, even if it was not in the Streets of Rage games, it was in other games from back in the days. So we tried to get other artists from Japan. And we got Yoko Shimomura, for example, that works currently on Kingdom Hearts, but that worked back in the days on Street Fighter. But also Keiji Yamagishi, who did Ninja Gaiden games.
And even in the West as well, you got a lot of talented composers, right?
Exactly. So those artists from Japan would like bring the spirit of the classic games from the 90s, but with their modern vision of those.
Okay.
And to kind of like temper with that, and also show that those games, their legacy are also part of the fans, and lots of fans were from the West. We wanted to bring artists from the West as well. And with the artists from the West, we wanted to bring artists that are used to compose music for indie games. So we had Dust Mortal or Scattle that, for example, did the music for Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
But also artists that never composed for video games, but that have a music style that would be a great fit with Streets of Rage, and that would be definitely modern, because those artists are people that do concerts, do festivals nowadays, so they would bring those fresh air from the nowadays music, and all these artists together would come out, the OST would come out as something classic and fresh at the same time, and that was really the objective of our strategy behind the music.
Yeah. And actually, it's really very good to see all this talent together in a single project, right? So all very talented musicians. And Olivier Derivière also did a great job on a game that I think it's criminally underappreciated, which is Remember Me.
Yes, absolutely.
And had a great soundtrack as well. Okay.
Exactly. That's one of the best examples where Olivier really, made the fusion between music and gameplay as well. You can really feel the music evolving as you're doing actions in the game.
Yeah.
And it's electronic music as well. It feels epic and classical, but it has really like very cool EDM roots. And that's where it really also convinced us to work with him.
Awesome. Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much for that answer and for sharing some info on that, because it's obviously something very important to all of us who grew up with the game and the soundtrack. You also mentioned or revealed recently that there is the option of playing in retro mode. We already mentioned that briefly at the start of the interview. Will that be something that you can do seamlessly, switch between the two modes, or is that something that you have to select from the start? Will it work like in Dragon's Trap? Or
no, this is basically since this is a completely new game, you don't have the opportunity to swipe.
Yeah. So basically, it's as it's a new game, there is no like retro mode, so to say. It's more that we wanted to bring as much from the previous game as we could in the new game, but with a completely new coat of paint. So basically you'll be able to play as the original characters in the original form. So you can play Axel from Streets of Rage 1, or Axel from Streets of Rage 2, or Axel from Streets of Rage 3, or Axel from Streets of Rage 4. And as it's a 4-player game, co-op, local, you can play with 4 Axels in the game, you know?
Okay.
So it's more, the retro mode, it's more about trying out the previous characters in this new environment, in this new fighting system. And trying to kind of see who is the best character between all those 17 characters. Is it the new Axel or the Streets of Rage 1 Axel, you know? Like, is Max still very good in Streets of Rage 4? Or is it like, is he like less good than Dr. Zan from Streets of Rage 3, you know? That's more about this. And also the tracks. So actually, Olivier worked so that you can listen to the OST from Streets of Rage 1 and 2.
Yeah.
While playing Streets of Rage 4, but it's not just like we put the tracks randomly. It's been thought through, you know, like it's the exact same tracks, but on the new levels, on the new, you know, parts of Streets of Rage 4. So it's very interesting to visit the game once you've done it, like with the Streets of Rage 4 version. It's interesting to go through the Streets of Rage 4 game with the original soundtracks to see like what are the choices that Olivier did. So he said like, okay, that music adapts perfectly to that level and that boss and all that kind of stuff, which is super interesting.
Oh, okay. That sounds interesting. So it's something not really how I was expecting it to be. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's more about, you know, like it's not a retro mode, but it's more you can play with retro characters and you can listen to the old soundtrack.
Okay, that makes sense. Very good. How many people worked on the game, by the way? How big was the team?
The core team was a bit less than 10 people. So the core team is Lizardcube, Guard Crush, and Dotemu all together. So that's the design team, but in total, more than 50 people worked on the game. Okay,
that's a lot. I mean,
yeah,
a lot.
That's crazy.
A lot, yeah, it's no.
But yeah, it's you need. That's what you need today if you want to do a very good game.
Yeah,
that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And even I was surprised. You know, like when I saw the staff role for the first time. I was like, what? I'm like, that's a lot of people, you know, like, that's true. You know, it's weird, but yeah, that's what you need, basically.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so you've just mentioned Guard Crush games, right? So they previously worked on Streets of Fury. Was that expertise that they gained with that game crucial to what you wanted to achieve with Streets of Rage 4? Did you take some things from that game into this new Streets of Rage game?
Yeah, absolutely. We are actually using the engine they created for Streets of Fury.
Okay.
Because basically with Streets of Fury, it was kind of a passion project for them, even if it actually sold not too bad on different platforms. It came out, I think, on Xbox 360. On the live arcade program, you know. But since then, they've been working on it, you know, like for years, just because it's a passion project and to improve it. Because the guys at Guard Crush, they're such beat them up nerds, you know, like they know everything about it. So they always try to bring something new to Streets of Fury. And when we started to work on Streets of Rage 4, it was kind of like a very, very evolved version of Streets of Fury they had, and they had a full engine ready to go. That goes with it. So we said, okay, let's use that. And that was a huge advantage because we could already start to play the game pretty early in the process and prototype it. And Ben could see his like arts integrated into the game pretty quick in the process. So it's been a very important contribution beyond the simple fact that they programmed the game.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so any plans for additional content for Streets of Rage 4 at the moment?
Well, maybe. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what people want. We'll try to listen to the community as we've done for the past 2 years. We have, of course, on our side lots of ideas. We prepared some stuff, but nothing has been confirmed 100%. So we'll see. But yeah, we of course would love to bring more content to the game, and there are so many possibilities that it's most likely, but we'll see.
Yeah. So buy the game and we'll talk about it, right? Everyone go
Exactly.
buy the game. Yeah. Okay. So one of our listeners actually sent me a question that I found interesting because I didn't realize this before I received this question. You'll have a day one outing on Game Pass. It'll be part of Game Pass from day one. Why did you guys decide to do that? Was it your decision? Was it they that approached
well,
you?
We already had a great experience with Blazing Chrome. It's another game that we're publishing with our indie game label called the Arcade Crew. And we were day one on the Game Pass. And it went really well. I mean, it's a good way, like, you know, to get more people to know the game. People on Game Pass are not necessarily the same type of people that are on the regular store. Or in the regular stores in general, so it's great. It's different. It's a bit different public. Lots of people are happy about this, and it doesn't like have a particular impact on ourselves, like rather than usual, you know. So it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe trying to reach a different audience as well, right?
Exactly.
Since it's on Game Pass, I already pay for that. Let me try the game, right? So that's probably a good way to reach new people. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so before we go, on a more serious note, we're all being affected by this COVID-19 pandemic going on right now. This game apparently, and that's a good thing for all of us and for you guys. Apparently, it was not affected. You were able to release the game. I think on time, right? As scheduled. Yeah.
Yes.
But how are you and your companies dealing with the current situation? Is it affecting you guys somehow?
Well, for me at Lizardcube, we are very few people, and this is not a major concern since all the art has been pretty much done. I'm working on marketing for the moment from home, which is quite difficult with the kids, but we don't have a lot of trouble with that really, because we don't have many people to pay, and we can talk over the phone or over the internet pretty easily. So that's kind of all right on our side.
Okay.
Yeah, well, on our side, it's not too bad either. Like, we, of course, the situation is very stressing and not cool at all. But firstly, like in our industry, we're kind of used to work from a distance, or we have the means to, and we have the mindset to do that. So that's the first thing. I think it's really important. That's why it's not having a huge impact. Secondly, we had like general strikes in France in December, and in Paris, almost everyone used public transport in the office. So at least half of the team, were 30 people at the Dotemu. At least half of the team had to stay home during the strikes. It lasted for more than a month. So we had to set up everything so people could work from home. So we were kind of ready when everything happened here for the COVID, basically, because we already set up all this infrastructure in December. So that was a really good point. That enabled me to say to everyone, okay, guys, like even if there was no lockdown, I said, okay, like schools are starting to close and everything. I don't know if there will be a lockdown, but just everyone stay at home. And within like 24 hours, everyone was set up at home and could stay for as long as needed at home. So yeah, I mean, that's doing pretty good. Right now I'm like running a HR operation in order to kind of get the feedback from everyone on their experience for the past 4 weeks in lockdown towards the work, but also having their psychological feedback to know like how they feel. Mm-hmm. Is it okay? You know, like is there any consequences in their mindset and the way they see things, and how we could improve everything, because I really hope it will never happen again, and that will end in France maybe on the 11th of May. But there are chances that it will come again in the future.
Yeah.
So let's better be ready, and we're trying to kind of gather all this experience and improve every part that we can, so that this experience isn't painful or difficult for everyone, but on the contrary, goes very smoothly, and it's just a different way of working than usual. So that's how we approach things, and for so far it's been doing good.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, and I think people, especially when you're ready to work from home, or as you say, not on the same space or in the same space, it's not affecting people as much as when you always need to go to the office every day, and that's not as easy to adapt to a different reality, right? Yeah. Okay. Hopefully it'll be over soon, and we can all look back at this as a painful memory, but a memory nonetheless, right?
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Cyrille and Ben, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for your honesty.
Thanks for having us.
I have one last question that I ask all of my guests. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but in the US, in the 90s, when the Mega Drive was released over there as the Genesis, they came up with a term called blast processing. Okay, so they said that the Genesis was better than the SNES because it had blast processing, which was actually not true. It was not a real thing. It was a marketing gimmick. But let's say for a minute that blast processing is a real thing that could improve something. So if you could add blast processing to anything in the world, what would it be and why?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
To make something more powerful.
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe. What did I want? Do I want something that I like but more powerful?
My bike. I don't know. I could go like 100 kilometers an hour.
I would say I
have a blast processing on my bike.
There you go. That's I would
say my bed, basically. My bed would be really nice, like a blast processing, with massage and kind of takes me into it, and I just fall asleep immediately. It would be perfect.
Okay. I was thinking like you would sleep for an hour and it would feel like a day, for example.
Exactly. That would be a good blast processing.
Yeah, and you would have more time for other things.
Exactly.
Okay, great answers. Great answers. Thank you very much, guys. Once again, thank you for coming on the Sega Lounge. All the best for Streets of Rage 4, which is would you imagine that out now as people are listening to this?
Yep.
So get on it and go play the game, people. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
See you next time, guys. I hope you can come back in the future to talk a little bit more about the game.
Sure, anytime. Okay. Let us know. We'll do again some quick shots.
Yeah, good. Maybe one day we'll have like real shots.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you. I love talking to Cyrille and Ben. They genuinely love the Streets of Rage franchise, and that shows in what we got with Streets of Rage 4, which is out now, and you should definitely buy and play it. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. It's never too much to thank each and every one of you who listen every week. And if you're new around here, why not listen to some of our previous episodes, especially the ones of Season 5 of the show?
If you're confused, Season 5 started with episode 100, and we already had amazing guests like the developers of Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, of Space Channel 5, and much more. As a final note, remember last week's giveaway winner's announcement? Well, turns out the winner of the European code for Space Channel 5 VR did not get back to me, so that means we need to draw a new winner. So let's just randomly pick someone. Here we go. Bram Neerink. Neerink? Sorry if I butchered your name, which I probably most likely did. Hello, Belgium! Bram Neerink from Belgium. You are the winner of a code for Space Channel 5 VR on the PSVR. Congrats! Well, what an emotional show. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, why not share it with the world by tweeting or posting on social media about it? Just a thought. You don't have to. Neither do you need to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, but, you could. Well then, again, thanks for listening. Stay safe and cozy in the comfort of your home if you can, and enjoy whatever games you're playing. I'll be back next week with a new interview. Bye-bye! The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Find them at opussciencecollective.bandcamp.com. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to kc@radiosega.net. Follow us on Twitter at The Sega Lounge. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com and wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.